of like, oh my gosh, I want to cry. Like you could feel his
Yeah.
emotion through the
Oh
TV.
my God.
That's
Yeah.
how I felt about your scene. That's
Oh.
what you did. Yeah. I was like, dude, that's
Hard, and you know it's not real, and you know it's pretend, and in reality you're okay and you're in a good place, but that was like, it almost feels like you're in a, it took me to like a time machine or something. Like it took me back to a certain time in my life, and it was hard. So people just really have to just be more empathetic, and you don't know what somebody's been through, and you know, you don't know how hard it is for the actor to play these characters. You don't know how hard it is for Jordan to play an abuser, you know.
yeah, it's hard. I saw someone in the comments saying like people have a hard time separating the actors, which is something you've been going through with your character, but it's like been killing me seeing all of that. Like I have experienced being in an emotionally abusive relationship, but he never like hit me or anything, but I understand like the mind control behind it and the manipulation. And I
Yes.
think a lot of people that haven't experienced it, it's easy for them to be like, well, why wouldn't that woman just leave? Why is she being stupid? But it's something that I think a lot of people do not relate to and they don't realize unless they've experienced it or had some, even if they've had someone experience it, sometimes I don't think they truly understand. Like it's just one of those things that it's just hard to explain. It's like mind control. They're under mind control.
I've
That's
been through,
what it is.
and I was one of those girls who was like, girl, if you don't, I remember having friends. I remember having this friend, and he was so jealous that it was his girlfriend's birthday. He was so jealous, and he was like, I hate when it's your birthday, you think you're all that. And he just made her miserable. Like he was on the phone, like, if you don't hang up on him. I was so angry, you know. But they, and until I became that girl, until I just slowly, they do little things, and then they're like, okay, I can get away with that, I'm gonna take it to the next step. I can get away with that, I'm gonna, you know,
Yeah.
until you don't even recognize. I remember one day I didn't even recognize myself. I'm like, what is going on? I used to be the girl who's like, girl, if you don't, do you know who you are? And
Because they're so sly.
they're
They
so,
literally, I mean, at least from my experience, like when I first met this guy, he was like perfect and like so charming, right? And then, so that's who I fell in love with. And then over time, it would be like, you can't even cut this fruit right. Like, what are you doing? Come on, come here. Let me do this for you. And it's little remarks like that that over time they pick at you and you're like, oh, I can't do anything on my own. I always need this person. And they slowly isolate you from all of your friends, all of
yeah,
your family. I remember him saying things like, you talk to your mom way too much. Sorry, mom, if you're here. And then I would be like, in my brain, I'd be like, oh, maybe I do. Maybe I do. And he'd have like these outbursts.
yeah,
And so over time, the woman thinks like, but he's not that person. He's just going through something. And they constantly try to get him to go back to that charming person that he was. And then they get stuck. They get
yeah.
stuck thinking that's not really who they are. So, anyway.
You chase who you fell in love with. You end up chasing that person or that feeling that they gave you, and they make you feel like you're, everything you do is wrong. And I just remember just getting constant complaints and criticism on everything, and just really trying to make me into a completely different person, to the point where it was, they're grooming you for the physical abuse, you know. But
Yeah.
right, narcissistic, yes, narcissistic controls.
Yeah.
Much research on that, and to date, to be in a relationship with a narcissist is one of the most draining things you will ever experience in your life. Narcissistic personality disorder is, they're vampires, really. They just suck the life out of you, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm so glad that you could turn your experience into such a positive thing and like spread awareness on things.
Yeah. Yeah. And I hope it's helped some people. I've gotten a lot of messages about it.